Hello, this is Tim Hickey, and this is part 3 of the Rube Goldberg Creating Your Own Virtual World tutorial for Blender. And in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to change the properties of primitive linked-in objects in their own object files, and how that changes the virtual world file. So let's go back to where we left off. Double-click on the virtual world folder and double-click on world.blend. Okay, so this is our world. Now, suppose I want to change these blocks and make them, say, a little narrower, because they would fall more easily. So I go here to File, Open, and let's see, there's the virtual world folder, and here's the domino.blend. So let me click on that and click Open Blender File. Here's our domino. It's selected, and I can change. Let's see, if I hit the N key in the 3D window, it pulls up the Properties pane, and down here it gives a scale. It was X is 0.2, Y is 0.6, and Z is 1. X you see is the red direction, so it's 0.2 in that direction. Let me get a little closer. If I say View Selected, it zooms right in. And I can move it around a little bit. So let's change it to make it, let's say, let's see, let's make this 0.1, narrower, and let's make it 0.5. So it's actually twice as tall as it is wide. Okay, and now we save. So save. So we've saved just this copy of this object, and to make it a little more interesting, let's click over here and change the color. So here's the Properties window, and this is the Material pane in the Properties window. So if I click on the diffuse color, I can change it and make it, well, let's make it yellow, yellowish. This is the intensity, so I'll make it very bright, and yeah, that looks good, bright yellow. Okay, so now we have to save it. File, Save. So we've changed the color and the shape of one domino in our domino file. And now if we go Open Recent and go back to World.blend, notice they've all changed. They're all yellow, and they're all a little bit thinner. If I hit P for play, knocks it down, and they all fall down. So this is a big advantage of using linked-in objects, and we'll show you how to link in, how to create a primitive object and link it in to the file in the next tutorial. But let me show you what would happen if we didn't do that. So here I'm going to use the middle mouse button and scroll around a little bit. Actually, if you can see it's up in orthographic mode in the upper left corner, and if I do View Perspective Ortho, it toggles back and forth. And perspective mode is more attractive. So I could have done this another way. I could have created, here, let me create a single domino cube, there it is, and hit the N key to pull up the numeric tab. And I'll make the dimensions 0.1, tab 0.5, tab 1.0. There it is. Here's our new domino. Right, and I'll just set it right down there. And then I could have done the same thing. Actually, let me move it over a little bit. Good. And now view from the front. Great. And let me go to orthographic mode. View orthographic. So it's like the blueprint mode. Here it is. Zoom in a little bit using the middle mouse wheel. And let me duplicate it. Shift D and pull it over, and left click, Shift D, pull it over, 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 left click. Oops, let me right click to select it, move it down a little bit. And now I'll make these fall by hitting R to rotate. Right clicked on that element, hit R to rotate, hit P for play. Oh, whoops. Why didn't it fall? Well, I made the box, but I didn't make it I didn't add any physics properties to make it dynamic. So I have to go to here and go to the Properties Editor. I'm going to replace that text area by a Properties window. And then click over here on the Physics. And then I can make this one Rigid Body. And close down those physics controls. And for collision, say I want collision bounds, I wanted a box. And so now I hit P for play, and oh, that one falls, but none of the rest of them do. Why is that? Well, if I want any of the rest of these to have these new properties, I have to actually go into I have to select them, go to the physics window, and make the same settings. So if I had instead created this in its separate domino.blend, like I did with all of these, then any changes I make to that one primitive model copy that gets linked in to the world.blend, those changes apply to all of the copies. So it really is a much, much better approach. Okay, so that's all I wanted to show you. And you should try to play around with the colors of the domino, the ball, and the floor. And so give that a try and have fun.